Thank you, doctor, that clears things up. Oh, sorry about that. I was making an important business call. Maybe you never thought about it before, but if you look up tips for how to be a great CEO, they actually generally apply to being a stay-at-home parent. So obviously, I don't usually go around cleaning in a blazer. I don't even wear glasses. But I just wanted to give you the visual, if you are a stay-at-home parent, that you are the CEO of your home. And I really do need to clean that mirror. The kids got their fingerprints all over it. If you are a stay-at-home mom or dad, you are really in charge of your own company. You have to manage not only your time, but also train and guide a bunch of usually irrational little people. There are lots of hats that stay-at-home parents wear, and I hope you've seen those printouts that try to put a monetary value to all the jobs that we do. But when it comes down to it, you really can't put a number on the value that you bring to your family. I'm Amy. Meet my associate, Cody, who serves as our doorbell and my bodyguard on walks. And I hope you're aware of how much you contribute not only to your family, but also to society in general. Because when it comes down to it, who are your working friends gonna call on those days when there's a school delay, but they still have to go into work at their normal time? And today I want to share with you some of my best tips of how to be a happy home management expert and get people to respect you, your job, and your time. I hope you don't mind if I work while I talk, kinda got a deadline. I was once in Target checking out, and the cashier commented how cute my little girl was, and boy was I relieved that she wasn't giving the cashier a stink face. But she went on to tell me that she was new at her job, and I said, oh, I hope you like it. And she said, yes, I love it. I need this job because I was a stay-at-home mom for 8 years. And I said, oh, that's what I do. And she said, it sucks. I was a little taken off guard and I didn't know if I heard her right, so I said, what sucks? And she said, staying at home. It's so boring. I didn't get to go out and do things with my friends. I was stuck at home, couldn't even go to the gym, etc., etc. And I thought, oh, I guess she needs to talk. I really hope she didn't express that sentiment in front of her kid, so I just walked away from that encounter feeling so sad that she was utterly discontent during those 8 years. If you have job complaints, you take it to the CEO. And if you're not happy with your job, you're the one that can change it. And at the time, to be honest, I wasn't that content myself, but I knew I didn't think my job sucked. It's the most important thing I feel like I've ever done, and yes, it is the hardest job I'll ever do. But there are things that can make it better. So my tip number 1 is have proper respect for your own profession. This really makes a big difference. I feel like if you respect your job, you respect yourself. Somebody would ask, knowing that I was a stay-at-home parent, hey, can you do this? And I'd say, sure, I don't have anything going on. And I think when we say something like that, what we really mean is we have the privilege of being able to move our schedule throughout the day. But what that actually does is convey to other people that we're not working. Woman or man, if you're Mr. Mom, don't sell yourself short. You do work, and you work hard, and you don't get overtime. I'm sure there are stay-at-home moms that don't do a lot of work, but for the vast majority of us, we're working hard nonstop all day. And I think part of the reason people don't see being a stay-at-home parent as work is because they assume that we're all at home on Facebook the entire day. I hope that's not the case for you. That is why I feel like it's extremely important to respect your own time, because if you respect your time, other people will too. I was actually at my husband's work party. One of the wives asked me what I did, and I said I was a stay-at-home mom, and she said, oh, that's nice, but I couldn't do that. I'm not one to sit at home and eat bonbons all day. Neither am I. I didn't have time to sit around eating bonbons, even if I wanted to. I was chasing little bottoms and wiping them. So people can be insensitive and ignorant about what we actually do. I'm definitely putting boundaries around my time because I have work to do at home. I'm not going out of my way to volunteer myself to do things to meet others' expectations. I don't need to be everybody else's wife. And I find that a lot of times people will put expectations on you to volunteer for things because they think you don't have a lot going on. This is often the case when you don't have a career that you drive to. People will say, hey, you can be on this committee, you can do this work for us, or why don't you volunteer for this or that? I put a cap on the amount of time I volunteer, once or twice per month, but learning good personal boundaries and how to say no and not be a people pleaser has been so instrumental in helping me be the best stay-at-home parent I can be. So besides respecting your job and time, and slightly different than respecting your time, is maximizing your time. Tip number 2. So studies show that the first 90 minutes of your day can be the most impactful. That is because of a few different things. There's fewer distractions in the morning generally, and willpower is generally the strongest at that point in time. So if you dedicate the first 90 minutes of your day to doing your most important things, your whole day is going to be a success no matter what comes after that. So how I'll make this happen is I will sit down with a bullet journal type thing and write down my 3 big goals for the day. And I might write more to-dos if I need to get them out of my head. But I won't pressure myself to do those. Those will just be like bonuses if I get to them that day. There's a wise saying that goes, a people without a vision will perish, and you are that visionary. So definitely know what's important to your family. Have a vision for your day, your kids' day, and intentional interaction. And for me to make the biggest impact on my day, I actually get up at 5 a.m. But even just getting up 15 minutes before your kids will set you up for success. I incrementally increased the amount of time that I woke up earlier than my children, and I just started with 15 minutes. Being able to think clearly without interruption really made a huge difference in my attitude. I wasn't resenting them and feeling bad about resenting them when they woke me up anymore, and I was able to look at them coming down the stairs and say good morning with a smile on my face. So I definitely recommend doing that. Tip number 3 is invest in yourself. So a lot of professionals are actually encouraged to spend around $1,000 to invest into their education or their equipment, their skill set, in order to progress in their job. Well, maybe you don't have a budget like that. I'm definitely not advocating that you go spend a lot of money. I like to save money, and I'm not even talking about adding college courses to your plate. But there are lots of ways to invest into your mind and your profession without doing that. I invested into Cook's Illustrated Cooking magazine so I could learn a little bit more. I'm still more of a home cook, but I felt like that was investing into my profession. And compared to $1,000 a year, I think spending $14 a month for my Audible subscription is definitely worth it. There are Audible books on productivity, for instance by Michael Hyatt, Your Best Year Yet, or Free to Focus. Amazing, life-changing. I recommend them. It's really put a fire under me to be better at what I do and to lead my children well. There's lots of podcasts out there. I'm gonna link some of my favorite resources so that you can access them to feel empowered and excited about your job. Because let's face it, mommy brain is real. When you're wiping bottoms all day, you can feel like your mind is melting. So keep up your enthusiasm by learning. Maybe you want to go to the library and get some language study programs that you can listen to while you're doing the dishes. So while we're on the topic, let's talk about pay. Because I know that I felt weird about spending money when I didn't contribute to the income. And I've heard a lot of moms talking about that too, actually feeling guilty buying something. So I want to address that subject because it can be really hard and discouraging and awkward. You feel like you are working, but yet you don't have any spending money because you're not bringing in an income. But maybe you haven't really communicated with your spouse about it. It's a really good idea to have that conversation. So after a few years, I just realized I was feeling kind of resentful because I couldn't go maybe buy a purse without feeling like, oh, but that might be taking away from the food budget or whatever. So what my husband and I found helpful to just affirm my contribution to the family is giving me a certain amount of income or spending budget. In a lot of ways, I help save money, but that money doesn't actually go into my pocket. So budgeting for however much that your family can afford each month for you to feel like no questions asked, it's your money, you're an adult, you can spend it the way you want, can really diffuse a lot of that angst you might be feeling and help clear the air if your spouse is like, well, what are you spending money on today? We have the rule in our house that we're not allowed to pick at how the other person spends their money. If my husband wants to go buy Starbucks to relax, that's his thing to do. I don't gripe about it anymore, although I used to. And he doesn't complain about how I'm spending my money. I already mentioned Audible. It's part of where my fun money goes. Lately, we're trying to save money, so I'm not like demanding the same amount that I always got. And you might be wondering, well, what's a reasonable amount per month? That totally depends on your income. So have a conversation with your spouse, know your finances, let them know. This will help you have better job satisfaction and a sense of autonomy, which is really helpful, I find personally. Now, kind of on that same topic is tip number 4, which is make sure that your workplace is a place you want to be. That's why I spend so much time decluttering, because I realized that making my space clutter-free made me feel calmer and less anxious and able to think more clearly. I find that the state of my house is really a reflection of my mind, and when it was cluttered and jumbled and sad looking, I was feeling the same way in my head. I felt like I really needed to get this together so I could have more patience with my children instead of being frustrated about tripping over things or the things piling up. That definitely helped me a lot. But besides the physical environment around me, I'm also talking about job perks beyond a flexible schedule. I like having my dog near me and being able to take a walk when it's sunny outside. Find the things that motivate you and build them into your schedule. Another thing that I like to incorporate into my day is a homemade chai tea latte. That way it's a little bit healthier and I'm not spending a lot of money on Starbucks. So maybe for you, it's making yourself an iced coffee or something. Another job perk that I have that I absolutely love is that while I'm doing dishes or folding laundry, I can be listening to a podcast or maybe watching a TED Talk on YouTube. That takes my mind off the monotony of doing laundry all the time. I used to feel like I would never get done with laundry, but now I'm honestly a little disappointed when the laundry runs out because that means I have to get up and do something else instead of continuing to watch whatever I'm interested in learning about. But I think you'll feel a lot more motivated and grateful for your job when you make it appealing to yourself. Nobody else is gonna make it appealing for you. You've got to do it yourself. You've got to have the right mindset. And tip number 5, which I find very fun, is outsourcing. Don't feel like you are the only one that can do everything for everyone. If you need help, don't try to do it all to prove that you're working hard. I think a lot of times stay-at-home parents feel like they have to do everything to prove that they're doing something to the world around them. Even as a stay-at-home mom, I don't make all of my food from scratch. I do quite a bit because we have food intolerances and we're gluten-free, but there are Costco's gluten-free frozen pizzas in my freezer for the days where I'm just tired. You don't want to burn yourself out. And outsourcing looks a little bit different now that my kids are a little older as well. Lately, my kids are really excited about earning money and achieving goals. My daughter just bought herself this big stuffed animal. She vacuumed and washed cars in order to earn the $11 that this toy cost. And I'm so proud of her, but I came up with jobs that I would normally have to do, and I let them do it, and I even paid. I mentioned in the kids goal setting video that there are some jobs that just drain me, and vacuuming the stairs is one of them, so that's something my kids will do. And I also recently started paying 10 cents each if they both work as a team and take this up to the dryer, fill it up with the laundry for me, and bring it down here where I can just fold it in the mornings. And if my son wants to do it all by himself, he gets the whole 20 cents. And other chores that they just have to do without getting paid also helps contribute to the family and take some of that responsibility off my shoulders and help them learn some responsibility and feel good about contributing to the family by doing specific chores. So my son's always been a really particular kid, so a job that's great for him is sorting the clean silverware into the silverware drawer, and my daughter just stacks the Corelle plates up on the counter, and then I'll put them away. And if they're home when there's a pile of laundry on the couch, I'll have them sort through and find their own clothes, fold them, and put them away as well. Maybe your kids aren't old enough where they can do that now, so file that away for when they are, because you don't need to be a slave to your family. That's not what you are. You're the manager of your home, and we want to train them to grow up to be effective adults and not entitled kids that have mommy do everything for them. Well, I guess I've done more talking than folding, but I hope this encouraged you to have a sense of professionalism about your job, knowing that what you do is important and worthwhile. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, click subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you'll know when the next video is up. I aim to post a new video every Friday. Have a great day. Bye.